United. To hear a Manchester United manager say not enough desire and determination?
I don't really agree with that. I think the effort was there.
Do you?
I do, yeah. It was just the positional sense of the players, really. I think the two midfield players, especially, I know I said before, I think Scott McTominay is a lot better being the one to run forward. But when you go to a tough away ground, especially, you play your position, especially as central midfield. Owen will tell you more than me. You play that position to get a good footing in the game, get a foothold of the game, get it by the scruff of the neck, keep possession, and then you choose your moments when you can get forward. It's almost kamikaze. They were all over the place at times. The amount of times that Newcastle broke right through the midfield, and Sabitzer's up the pitch, McTominay's up the pitch, Fernandez is up the pitch, they're all over the place. Anthony wasn't running back helping Diallo. And you heard him there, he said he changed the formation 3 or 4 times. It felt like a bit of a shambles today. It was a really messy game of football. And they never looked like scoring. The amount of times he changed it to try and get an extra forward, as he said, bring Jadon on, try and create something. I never for 1 minute thought they were going to score. Martial had that half chance, I suppose, with the deflection. But other than that, I think that's where United are short. I think they might need to buy 2 forwards, really, who can get up to that 78, I keep saying 70, 80 goal mark to challenge for a league title and challenge for big trophies. You need that. United, well, I don't know if we'll have a look at the goal scoring stats, they're a million miles away from that yet. And I always say the best teams are only as good as your centre forwards. This team at the minute, they look like they're going to concede, but they don't look like they've got enough goals in the team to override that. And I think that's... But you also have to say, that performance it's typical of what they've been like, really. The only thing is, they haven't conceded in them periods, and they've ended up grabbing a goal, grabbing 2 goals, just to go on and win the game when they haven't been great. So, but full credit to Newcastle. I thought Newcastle were really good, but United, it's disappointing. But United have got the best players of there. They've got Casemiro, Eriksen missing. Eriksen's been missing for a while, but them 2 coming into the team, they know the position a lot better than I think those 2 did today. And
on that, Colin, we know that's why the strikers get the most money. I mean, that's out there because they get the goals. But they had 1 shot on target today, which is the lowest of any game in the Premier League.
Disappointing.
This season. And 5 hours nearly without a goal.
Very, very disappointing. I think we touched on it at the start of the show. Marcus wasn't really in the game today. That is your go-to man. So if your go-to man's not in the game, be noticed today. Creativity is not there. If there was chances, which there wasn't, there's no one there to finish him off. And we can't rely on one individual. And might be 2, might be 3 centre forwards, because Manchester United needs to score goals to try and win the Premier League. And I genuinely do believe we're still a couple of years away from that.
I'd just say that at the start of the season, I said it was almost a waste of time. Teams having Man United having centre forwards because Fred and McTominay was playing in central midfield. It felt like we came back to that today. I think if you've got a forward like Marcus Rashford, you tell him where to go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you guide him in areas, don't you?
It's not that difficult. You hit the ball over to touch him, stay on the shoulder of Trippier all day long, and that's when you play your position. When you're up against it all the time and running forward and not playing where you should be, you won't get time on the ball. You've got to find yourself space on the ball. Then it becomes a lot easier. That's when you can hit Marcus. You know he'll go. I'm not sure how you get the best out of Vigos. I don't know. Anthony as well. Look, Anthony seems a one-trick pony to me. He's all left foot. He can cut inside. He's a young lad. He's come over to this country, I know, from Holland, been in Brazil. He needs coaching. I think he needs to add more to his game. He needs to be able to run off the ball better. I think he's quick enough to do it, but he doesn't do it. I think he needs help coaching-wise, and I think you get more out of him.
Go back to Scholes' midfield point. Tell us why McTominay and Sabitzer struggled so much today. Were they not executing what Erik ten Hag wanted them to do, or were they just playing their natural game that left United open?
Well, I think first of all, it's hard for them. Have they ever played together? You know, as a pair, no. So, and Bruno's an attacker, and to be fair, all 3 of them, I think, actually play the same position. They're all 8. You know, they're not defensive. They're not number 10. They all kind of want to be box to box. But like Scholes, you mentioned, they had no control of the game at any point. When we've seen United be great this season, you had Casemiro, you had Eriksen, and you had Bruno, and they had complete control of the game. And then they could play those forward passes into Marcus, into Martial, and they were brilliant. Today, they didn't protect, and they didn't play killer passes, and they didn't provide any attack, 1 shot on target. You know, so every part of it wasn't there, what Casemiro and Eriksen and those boys provide. So, again, it goes back to personnel, it goes back to depth. You know, they don't have the depth when they're missing a couple guys, and it shows
live
blatantly.
from St James's Park.
That's why the midfielders
You know,
are the second highest.
not every manager who's gone up there has got the area, got the club, got the ethos. He's got it from day one.
He has. He's got the team playing. He's got the team not just playing for himself, but playing for the fans as well, putting in a shift. And I mentioned beforehand, you got a Newcastle, you put in a shift, you give everything you've got. The fans will absolutely adore you. And where they're at now, they're showing it.
Let's have a look at these goals that Eddie Howe's team scored today, and of course Manchester United conceded. The first one, and he's talked about perseverance and patience, it was coming. We all said that at the time.
Yeah, it was. They've been dominant, and David obviously made a couple of really good saves in that first. And look, I'm sure Owen will go through the goal in a minute. There's a lot of mistakes in this goal, and again overloading that far post where they felt Darlow was weak, and Maximum, he heads it back, and Willock, there he is gambling from the midfield and manages to put it away.
Yeah, plenty to pick out from a Manchester United point of view there, Owen.
Yeah, well, before the game we spoke about how Man United going to do without Casemiro. We saw at the start of the season how they did, not well. And today was a little example of possibly how they're going to perform without him. We've got the goal obviously in the touch, and we'll just run through it. And the reason the goal happens is basically in the position where you would see Casemiro. So that is Sabitzer and Guimaraes together there, and he's with him. You know, he's with him in these key moments. He keeps running with him, keeps running with him. He's gotten there, and he's gotten there. But just watch what happens when the ball goes inside. He just gets caught ball watching. And when you get caught ball watching there, you're in trouble. And credit Guimaraes, by the way. He knows, look, I'm in there, the space is there. And these two, and you can just see Sabitzer, he's ball watching. Luke Shaw's ball watching. Luke Shaw scores, he probably could be a little bit side on. But you think about Casemiro in that moment, he just has a feel for that moment. You're not running beyond him there. And that's where the goal comes from. Obviously, they get him behind. Great little dink across. Scholes, he mentioned, overloaded the back post. A lot wrong with it, but that probably for me was the most important moment. Casemiro would be there. Sabitzer stepped in a moment when they needed him. He wasn't there in a decisive moment.
I think the decisive moment there is Sabitzer taking his eye off Guimaraes. As soon as the ball goes inside, he should still be looking at him. Yeah. Where is he? Where is he? And the ball's inside. He carries on. He does actually have a tiny look, and then realise he's in trouble. It's too late.
He actually looks the wrong way, doesn't he?
He looks to his left.
He had a tiny little glimpse and thought, oh no, I'm done. Then he's hoping then that Luke Shaw could possibly be the one to fill in and stop that. But Luke Shaw's got a problem because he's got Isak who's in that position who could have a free shot at goal. So Luke Shaw gets lost and he has to go almost half and half and does nothing. And he ends up passing inside him and Sabitzer's too late.
Do players, when you've got someone as good as Casemiro in that situation, psychologically think sometimes he's not there? Do I have to go and do some more? Like Luke Shaw's doing that?
I genuinely believe so because they're so used to him now. He sniffs danger. So him not being in the team, I think they're saying to themselves, right, he's not there, right, I'm going to have to go, I've got to step out. And if you look at defenders, they don't want to step out. So Luke there, in that position he finds himself in, he doesn't really want to step out, but he knows he's got to go. By the time he goes, he reverses the pass and he's in.
OK, and just on Casemiro, 8 games they've played without him in the Premier League. They've lost 4 and drawn 1 and only won 3.
But we spoke about it before the game, depth. You know, do United have the depth that say the top teams out? Today's a good example of that. Even when team sheets came out, we said, you know, a little bit, we'll take a point. And to be fair, if anything, it just shows you that without Casemiro, without Eriksen, without those, you know, the top guys, United don't have the depth to compete with the top teams.
And Andy, for the second goal, defensive organisation.
Yeah, the boys were saying it's zonal marking. I'm not a big fan of zonal marking. I think, pick up a man. You know who your man is, and then we go from there. But if you look at the position Wilson finds himself in there, he's dropped his shoulder about 3 or 4 times. And Marcus doesn't know where he is. When the ball comes over Marcus, he ducks his head a little bit. Wilson's got a free header. It's 2-0. In that time, you've got to give everything to try and clear that ball.
Yeah, I mean, look, they got one of the best set-piece takers in the Premier League. I think Trippier's got, with that, he's got the most assists from set pieces. But if you think about who's going to score, Callum Wilson there, how on earth, he's 1v5. Mm-hmm. How on earth does he score in there? The one thing that surprises me from a personnel standpoint, Scholes, you might know why, he's got Bruno at the near post, not a good header of the ball.
No.
Then he's got Martial, and then he's got Marcus Rashford. Why would you have three guys that aren't really great headers of the ball in a position where they need to head it?
The only thing I would say, he took Martinez and Varane off at that point. They could possibly be two replacements for them, and that might have messed up the whole organisation of the set pieces. But look at that situation there. How can Callum Wilson get a free header there? Like, when I say that, I actually thought it was brilliant centre-forward play. If you have a look in a minute, he does actually shove his arms out to Marcus Rashford.
We're going to run it slowly because, Coley, you can explain what he's doing, because basically Martial and Rashford, they're all just stood still. But
they are. But if you look at Wilson, like I said...
We got him there, yeah, highlighted. We're just going to run it slow. Watch how many times he moves.
Was it 3-4 times?
4. Watch how many times he moves.
So he's gone
1, 2, 3, 4. Marcus doesn't move once. Just that little... You know, just those moves alone creates that. It just creates that little separation, doesn't it?
Think of them 4 players there, though, Coley. You've got Martial, Bruno, Rashford, and Lindelof. Lindelof's the only centre half who can head a ball,
which he should be in front of.
Oh my God!
But that's what I don't understand. Personnel-wise,
and he's looking right. He's looking right at Wilson. He says, "Right, he's my man. There's no way he's scoring." Right. The other 3 you can understand because they're forwards and they don't want to be there, do they?
But you've got to still do your job.
Well, yeah, of course, but they don't want to be there. Lindelof, knows the job and should be able to do the job, and he allows that to happen.
Yeah, we run it in one more time. It's just, you just shouldn't score.
It's bad defending. It's bad defending. And if you look, we're not here to have a go at anybody.
No.
But if you look at Marcus' position, at no stage does he know anyone's behind him. Because if you pull it back in and have a look, he doesn't know Wilson's behind him. Because he's never actually looked to say, right, he's behind me.
Well, he says it's not a natural thing for a forward, but you've been in that situation. You know what you've got to do.
You've got to defend. You're 1-0 down, you try to keep yourself in the game. I mean, so if you could try to keep yourself in the game, you've got to know what's around you, because you're trying to say, right, if we can get it away, counter-attack, whatever. But you've got to keep yourself in the game.
On the other hand, Steve, and as you as a centre-forward caller, you'd be so happy with scoring that type of goal.
Oh, 100%.
It's absolutely brilliant centre-forward play at the same time.
You wouldn't have been there as... Like, you played like Bruno, didn't you? Same position. I always defended at the near post, the first man. We never really had centre-forwards and number 10s.
No.
At the near post, did we?
That's where I think the organisation might have gone awry, because Varane and Martin is up. And how many times do you see two centre-halves come off?
Yeah.
It's a very strange occurrence, and that could mess everything up.